to my channel. So recently, my mom was in the market for a new vehicle after moving into the apartment and realizing that the garage wasn't quite able to compensate her RAV4, her Toyota RAV4, which if you're familiar with it, it's a decent sized vehicle, okay? And as I said in my previous video when I talked about the house buying process, that's one of the things that is really important that you do, which is measure your garage and measure your car and ensure that both can get along. And also, when you're purchasing older houses, it's likely that even if they're renovated, right, it's likely that the garage is going to be significantly smaller than if you have a house, let's say from the 2000s period, like let's say 2005, for example. It's more likely going to maybe have a little bit more space, and especially being here in the center of downtown or near the center of downtown, it's a little bit tricky when it comes to having ample parking space to compensate larger or longer vehicles. So we were very fortunate that one of our friends who's also here in the YouTube community was able to take time to help us in finding the right vehicle for her, with having his own background knowledge and passion for the car industry. So that was really helpful in our journey. And my mom, really understanding what type of car that she was now looking for. So we ended up looking at a couple of different dealerships here in the Vincennes area. We went to Volkswagen, we went to Seat, and we went to Toyota. And as we are talking about purchasing cars in Italy, I wanted to go ahead and talk about some of the social factors that are a little bit different than for my foreign viewers who are particularly from America than what you will experience between the two. When you walk into a dealership here in Italy, it's not immediate that someone's going to just greet you and try to just be in your face and start spitting deals at you or anything like that. I'm not saying that people in the States are usually super hostile, but they are a little bit more active in the selling. Guys, I cannot talk today. I don't know what the problem is. This happened in the last video too, so bear with me. But in the selling process of the vehicles that they have in store, okay? So selling the brand and everything like that. And I would say, just generally speaking, for when you are dealing with Americans when it comes to selling products or anything like that, there is a little bit more of an aggressive approach to it than you will experience here. So that goes for, in my experience, for like all industries. And they allow you to just come in to browse, and if you need help, they will obviously assist you if you ask them. And in one case, actually, they did have a sign-in. I'm not sure that's something that they do regularly, but at this point in time, they did make a sign-in along with the other elements to track people coming in and out, and obviously your phone number and your email, which I think really is this protocol to be able to contact you at a later date. You walk in, you start perusing and looking at cars in the showroom and seeing what you like, what you're interested in. They do have a person in the front, obviously, like most places, and they have their own offices, of course, to the side and in the back and elsewhere. And of course, it wouldn't be Italy if they didn't have a coffee break section that's available for everyone to enjoy, workers and customers alike. So you can go to your little automated machine and get you a fast espresso. Once you finish perusing, of course, and you'd like some assistance, you can track down one of the people there, and then they will obviously go through standard procedure to talk about the car, etc., etc. Now here, again, like I said, people aren't as aggressive with selling in the same way as it is in the US, and so you will have to work to track someone down. It's not that someone's going to immediately just come up to you all the time. So just be prepared for that mentally. And then when it comes down to actually negotiating and talking about the car, they will have you seated, and then you will start talking about it one-on-one. They may walk over and actually show you the vehicle, but that's something that I feel, at least in my experience, you have to kind of ask for more. It's not, they kind of let you take the wheel, so to speak. And one thing I think that goes in many situations, unfortunately, is that they did spend more time talking to the male that was with us than to us. I'm not saying that that's only something that happens in Italy. Obviously, it also happens in the States. So that's something, unfortunately, that even across the ocean we can escape. So be prepared for that as well, for my ladies out there who are looking to purchase a car on their own or going with someone who is a male. This may happen to you as well. But luckily also too, the male that we brought with us was a car expert and was very helpful and helping us through the process. So it may have also been that too, but I'm saying just be aware of that too. And then of course, because they are dealerships and dealerships that deal in multiple countries, if you have a need to speak Spanish or maybe German or English, that I am almost positive there will be at least one person on their staff that speaks one of those languages or all three of, did I name three? Or all three of them. And actually when we went to Volkswagen, which is not far from the Caserma Italy base, there was a woman actually working at the front entrance. She is from Brazil, and so she speaks Portuguese, Italian, Spanish, German, and English. And she spoke English and Spanish very, very well. And so that was very helpful for us if, you know, there's a word or a phrase that you may not be familiar with, or you're trying to communicate and maybe, you know, Italian isn't like your strongest language. Usually there's someone to help there. And I think that pretty much goes for most companies that deal with products that are international. You likely will find someone who can speak your language. That way you can have an easier transition and making sure you're not missing any information. Another thing that's great is, of course, because we're in Italy, when we had to take a break to wait for the salesman that we needed to be available, we were able to go and take a little coffee break in the open break area, which generally in most stores that you go to, like when it comes to things like IKEA or where you're going into a business like that, they usually have a little coffee break area. So it helps the time pass by. But if you don't like coffee, they also have hot chocolate too, and tea. It did go over a period of 2 weeks, which of course you want to take as much time as you need to look for the proper vehicle for yourself in any situation, right? And so we took about 2 weeks to go between the Arona from Seat, the T-Cross from Volkswagen, and the Yaris from Toyota. We did end up going with the hybrid Yaris from Toyota, which is really cool because it's very futuristic and very eco-friendly, so it's a win-win. Some things to keep in mind though, as you are going through this process of buying a new car here in Italy, especially for my viewers who are Americans and related with the base, is that just like I said in my previous video when I talked about buying a house here in Italy, that when you're buying a car, what we were advised is that you do need to be a resident or show some type of residency. And for my Americans, again, related to the base, that is something that is taken care of when you are integrating into the base and into living here in Italy. You will have your codice fiscale and all those things, your permesso di soggiorno, all of that. And I'm specifically talking about brand new cars that are dealing with Italian dealerships on the economy. From what we were advised, it doesn't apply to used cars for some reason, but to brand new cars, it does apply. Another thing to note is that license plates for Americans who do come here as it relates to the base are a little bit different. So I'm not talking about people who are coming here for work or study and who are living on the economy as Italian residents without any government affiliation. I'm talking specifically about people who are government affiliated with the military bases. Your license plate is going to look a little bit different. It's going to typically have that ZA in front of it. When we were talking to different dealerships about this, their main concern was about the license plate, and we actually were told by the car salesman who we were dealing with that his biggest issue was that he believed that the license plates that are associated with the base were not considered to be real license plates. They were fake plates essentially, and this is nothing against them or the car salesman, but simply his perspective and understanding of how that works. And this is why it's so important, like I say, even with the house buying process, to make sure that you interview different places and different services to ensure they're used to dealing with people, especially if you're coming from the base in this situation, with people who have a different residency situation or from a different country in some sense, where these special conditions apply. And this is particularly with people from the base. Not every company that you run into here that's within the general area will have sold to Americans from the base, and so you have to be aware of that and make sure that you have all of the information for the tax office and the motor vehicle office to give to them so they can talk to another Italian person who deals with this legal paperwork to ensure that there's no confusion. But to clarify on the fake license plate situation, the license plates on the base are not fake, they just are set up a little bit differently. And that's due to the fact that it is a way of ensuring to make sure that, you know, tickets and other legal situations get taken care of through the base, because the base is insuring that vehicle essentially. You do something bad and they take a picture of your license plate and that goes to the police. It doesn't go directly to you as an individual as if you're on the economy or in the US, for example, and your license plate is directly linked to your personal insurance and your information. It goes directly to the base, and the base ensures that even if you PCS, if you leave for whatever reason, that information gets forwarded to you, and then that ticket or whatever the case may be gets taken care of. Because people on the base are typically, unless you're like DoD civilian, typically people are temporary, and so this is like an extra insurance for those situations. So for financials for handling your car, so if you're going to be doing financing, they did require that we have an Italian bank to do our financing through. You can, from what I understand from the dealership, also go through Toyota, for example, to finance with them, but it may be easier, let's say if you already have a house that you're financing, to just join them together with your same bank, and that way it just makes life easier and simpler, because, you know, we want to work smarter, not harder, and so they did advise that we just stay with our Italian bank. And in my last video where I talked about house buying, I did also talk about the IVA, which is the 22% tax. And so that also applies in this situation. And again, if you are an American who is associated with the base, you do not pay the IVA. And that is something that goes, again, to the tax office, and you'll have to get the necessary paperwork for that. But otherwise, if you're not associated with the base, you will have to pay a 22% IVA tax on top of your purchase. So anticipate that due to the government agreement between the US and the Italian government that has decided that people who are associated with the base do not pay the IVA. Then also anticipate that not every dealership that you run into, especially if they're further away from the base, like maybe in Grazzo or somewhere else, they may not be familiar with this, and it may be alarming to them and confusing. So don't be upset, don't get nasty, please, and just, you know, take that as, okay, maybe I don't need to work with this dealership and I should go with a different one. Everything else in our process was fairly standard. Once we did agree upon getting the Yaris and the color that she wanted and things like that. The only other thing about when you are buying a brand new car in Italy, it can take 3 to 4 months to receive it. So definitely know that you're gonna have a significant window to actually driving your car off the lot and all that good stuff. Don't anticipate to have it within a week or a month. Anticipate 3 to 4 months, especially for having extra sensors added to it, which she wanted extra sensors added into her vehicle. Plus she wanted a specific color. So that's something that you're going to have to prepare for if you're looking to have a vehicle quickly. It's not going to be quick because it's also Italy. So you can't forget that. You live in Italy. Patience here is a virtue. Once we were able to get all of that worked out and understand the price without the IVA added onto it, and then do the down payment to hold and order the vehicle, then we were set. There is a new law that was agreed upon last year that added an extra benefit in the car buying process. So customers are given an incentive of 1,500 euros from the government that can then be matched with another 2,000 euros, so giving you a possible max of 3,500 euros to scrap your car that's 10 years or older. Obviously, there are some other qualifications involved in that when it comes to like emissions, but definitely contact your dealership when you are in the process of doing this. If you qualify, at least having your car a car that's 10 years old, then definitely talk to them and see if you can get this sweet deal, because I just think that's pretty awesome. It's great for the environment, all that jazz, you know. But for us foreigners who don't have cars that are made in Italy, for example, as in you buy it based on the Italian specs, not a car that you bought like in the States and brought here, or an American car that you bought on the base and that doesn't have the same homologation as an Italian vehicle. I'm telling you, they won't take it. We tried it, we were pretty confident and excited about it, and they said no. Just because it's also a Toyota and they are Toyota, it's an American make. So we can't, but if you fall into that category, then congratulations, you can do that. But really, I think that is a good deal, but also too, for the Americans who are associated with the base, it's still a good deal that you're getting that 22% removed. So you're also getting sort of a discount already. So either way you look at it, either one is still really beneficial for the customer. And I mean, I'd be happy with either situation, you know? So as of now, we have officially put down the money for ordering the vehicle and holding it for us. I'm pretty excited. It's gonna be a great time. I'm excited to drive it, test drive it, and to show you guys how it came out. So in about 3 to 4 months, I will be hopefully uploading an update video with that car, but let's see. You know, or for any of you who are also extra curious, I may just put it on my Instagram. So definitely check out my Instagram. I have tons of content on there, and that's all I got for you for today. So thank you guys for joining me. I love our little talks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so next time I post a video, you can be notified. All right, ciao for now.